dispensary owners are betting that it will pass. If Prop 203 passes, make no mistake, Arizona's medical marijuana industry will be heavily regulated. One big difference in California, all the dispensaries will have to operate as
this by the book, right, and make sure we comply with all the laws.
Al Sobel represents a group that is trying to open one of the first dispensaries in Arizona. That's if the law passes.
We're getting the initial steps in place so that we can be prepared to do that when the time comes.
That includes filing with the Corporation Commission and starting up a website. They'll also have a directory of doctors willing to recommend marijuana. And that's where this bill has some gray area. The law says patients with cancer and HIV or AIDS will definitely qualify for the drug. But it also allows people with severe or chronic pain.
I got chronic pain.
To get it too.
And nausea, Barbara, you get it. You get nausea, right?
It's actually the State Department of Health that will have the final say as to who will be allowed to get the drug. They're the ones who will sign off on the doctor's recommendation. Despite the tight restrictions, potential dispensary owners are optimistic.
I would gather to say that the first day that dispensary opens up, we're going to have a line wrapped around the building.
Well, those people who are allowed to buy the drug will have to provide an ID card that's issued by the health department every time they buy marijuana. All of the info will be entered into a computer system, so their purchases will be tracked by the Department of Health. I'm Andrew Hassan, Fox 10 News.
Thank you. The medical marijuana initiative, Prop 203, one of the more interesting issues going before voters in November. And not sure where you stand? We can clear some things up for you tonight. We're joined by Andrew Myers, who's the main organizer behind Prop 203, and also Lisa Lannon, who is drug and alcohol treatment centers here in the Valley. She's against Prop 203. Thank you very much, both of you, for being here. And before we start, I want to see both some video I shot. I shot this on my iPhone this past weekend. I'm in Venice Beach, so I apologize for the quality here. But if you look behind that sign that says it's Kush Doctor, and there are two young women talking to people as they walk by in Venice Beach. And what they're saying is, I can have you smoking marijuana legally in 10 to 15 minutes. And inside that store is a doctor, a place you could buy the marijuana, and right next to it is a head shop where you could buy a pipe. And Andrew, I don't think you're going to have seriously ill people walking up and down Venice Beach. So let's say Prop 203 passes. This is what we can expect here.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, this is what happens when you don't have regulation. In 1996, California passed the first medical marijuana law in the country, and it was a one-page legislation. There's still, to this day, no statewide regulation of marijuana dispensaries in California, and when you don't have regulation, this is what you get.
Well, how is ours better? Quickly.
Because we have 32 pages of regulations, and we've learned from the mistakes of previous states. And if you read our initiative, you can tell right from the start that what we have is nothing to California.
Lisa, do you agree with that?
I do not agree with that.
Why not?
It's a great question because chronic pain, who describes chronic pain? That's up to the patient. I can walk into any doctor and say, oh, I have chronic pain, I have migraines, I suffer from them every day, and get a prescription for medical marijuana. It's going to be that easy to get, and it'll get out of control just like it did in California.
Okay, so Lisa, you have somebody who's got cancer, critically ill, no appetite, a lot of pain. Do you think they shouldn't have marijuana to make them feel better?
Well, currently, it's approved by the FDA, Marinol. It's a pill form of synthetic THC, which is the active drug in marijuana.
So they don't have to get it and smoke it. Andrew, let me ask you this. Your proposition lists some pretty serious illnesses as qualifying for a marijuana prescription, but it also lists chronic and severe pain, which could be a loophole. Let's say I've got a bad knee from playing too much basketball, which I do. Hurts a lot, might be severe. So should it be okay for me to bring marijuana into my house where my kids are just because I got a sore knee?
Well, it depends if that's the type of pain that you would normally prescribe an opioid painkiller for. I mean, what we're looking at as a severe and chronic pain provision is taking people who are taking very psychoactive, very addictive substances like Oxycontin or Vicodin and giving them something that is safer and in many cases more effective. So drug-seeking behavior is nothing new. Physicians deal with this all the time. But in this case, we're talking about a substance that is not nearly as dangerous as other types of substances that people are seeking maybe for legitimate purposes, maybe for illegitimate purposes all the time.
Good point, Andrew. So, Lisa, let me ask you this. Is marijuana worse than alcohol or Oxycontin, both of which are legal at this point?
I think at some point in time it can be the same as alcohol or Oxycontin. Use increases over time. People get addicted to it. Their use increases, and eventually they may switch to something more powerful.
Andrew Myers, Lisa Lannon, thank you both very much for being here tonight. And again, this will be on the ballot in November. Prop 203.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Prop 203. Yeah, Prop 203.
Got the munchies? Watch them down with this sweet deal at a Valley Theater Suite celebrating a big...
Okay, it's Prop 203, it's called. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So it's November.
November 3rd? November 2nd?
I don't know the exact date, but... Okay, we'll go smoke over here, okay? I love you.